Hey guys, welcome back to Denizen Scripting Tutorials. I have something more important I should probably be doing, so it's a great time to procrastinate and make a video. This is going to be based off of a suggestion from my previous video from yesterday or the day before. I wanted to use this example to show you guys how to make a script that is kind of complicated on the back end to make a fairly interesting quest. So what we're going to do is create a quest for this rancher, and you're going to have to bring him a horse on a leash. And then when you talk to him, he's going to take the horse from you and put it on a fence post that he's going to put in the ground right here, and then to give you a reward or something. So let's get right into it. We'll try to make this video kind of quick. We'll see how it goes in editing it. So we're going to start off with our general assignment script and our only interact script that we're going to need. So the first step is we need to chat to the player when they show up and say, hey player.name, use some help. Wait a couple seconds and tell them I really need a new horse. Wait a couple more seconds, chat with them again, can you help me out? And just like we've done in previous videos, we're going to have some chat triggers here. I believe we need an S for triggers, and we'll do two different chat triggers. And the first one, we'll have the trigger be, yes, I can help you out. And we'll have some sort of script. And then we'll have the next one be the, no, I am too busy. And then the NPC will just chat, oh, come back when you have more time. Of course, you're going to want to make these NPCs slightly more interesting, but you get the gist of what is going on at any given point. The main thing you want to do in the yes trigger is explain to them how to bring the horse back so they don't get confused. So we'll say, okay, I need you to bring me a horse on a leash, or I think they call it a lead. Back to me when you find one, and then we'll zap to step 2. So then the obvious next part we're going to need to do is make a step 2, and you'll see that I aligned step 2 with the same amount of indents, which is 2 or 8 spaces, as I did with step 1 up there. It's going to also need a click trigger. And this is where all of our logic is going to go. And when the player comes back to the NPC, we're going to need to do some checking. The first thing we're going to check for is if there's any horses around, because if there's no horses and the player doesn't have one, so he needs to tell him to go find a horse. So to do that, we can use the if command. So if player.location.find.entities. Now this is kind of complicated, but we put in horse as the entity, dot within, we'll say 3. So what this tag is going to do is it's going to return a list of all of the horse entities within 3 blocks of the player. So all that's going to do is check if there's any around them, and what we're going to do is if that is greater than or equal to 1, so if there's at least 1 horse around, then we're going to come into some block of commands. Else, this is where we assume that there's no horse around. So you say, hurry up, player.name, we'll wait 1, and then we'll check, I really need a new horse. And we'll close off the else statement. So this is his response for when you don't have a horse. Now what you need to do is figure out how he's going to handle it when you do have a horse. So the first thing we got to do is after we've acknowledged that there is a horse, we need to, or at least that there's a list of horses that this is returning, we need to go through each one of those horses and see if the player has one on a leash. So to do that, we use the for each command. So for each of the horses on this list, just like that. So for each of them, this is where we go in again. I'll actually do that. So for each of these, we want to check if the value, so value gets replaced with the current horse that we're looking at. So it's going to loop through this whole list of horses. Most likely it's only going to have one, unless the players come back with like 5 horses, but it doesn't matter because it'll only react to one. So if the current horse dot get, oops, let's get the dot in there, get leash holder, what this does is it takes the entity of the horse we're looking at, which again is probably going to be only one, and it's going to get who's holding the leash attached to the horse, so that there's an assumption that horse has a leash attached to it. So if that is equal to p at, or actually nope, it's equal to player. So if the player is the leash holder, then we go in and we do some sort of logic here. And then we don't need an else statement, because if this is false, then it's just going to start the loop over to the next one. So once we find the horse that the player is holding, we need to put in what the NPC does when the player has successfully completed the quest. The first thing that we're going to want to do is, chat, create a new horse, or something along those lines, and then we'll wait a second or two. And what I wanted to have done in the game is I want the NPC to put a fence post in right here, and then take the leash from the player and attach the horse to the fence post. So the important thing we need to do is find the location of this red block, because that's going to not actually be there, but that's where he's going to put the fence post. So there's a simple thing we can do here. If we go into the chat and we type ex narrate player.location.cursor on, which is going to narrate out the location that the cursor is currently on, which is this block right here. So when we hit that into chat, it narrates out the location. And that's the location that we'll put into our script. And what we want to do is we want the NPC to put a fence post in. So we do modify block, which is a command that you use to change a block. We want the location to be L at -156 72 330 world. And that follows our standard location object format, which is X, Y, Z, and the name of the world. In my case, my world's just called world. And then we have to tell it what block to change it to, which is M at fence. Just like that. So what that does is it causes the block that currently is a red wool block to turn into a fence post. So we could actually put in before that, chat, let me put a post in the ground real quick. And we could wait one. We could even go into the IRC chat. I can look up the command to animate the NPC. So we use animate, the entity, and then the animation. So we can do animate, NPC, animation, arm swing. And that'll cause him to swing his arm, and at the same time it's going to change the fence post. So it looks like you put a fence post in the ground. And then the next step is going to be taking the leash from the player and putting it onto the fence post. So we can use the leash command, and the leash command takes the entity that is going to be leashed, and it takes the holder of the leash. So in this case, the entity that's going to be leashed is the value, which is the horse that we've decided is the player's currently leashed horse, and the holder is going to be the location from up here, the fence post. Now at this point, the horse is going to be leashed to the fence post, and we could wait a second or so afterwards, and we can chat thanks player.name. This will be a good help. We'll make it a great help. So at that point, the NPC has taken the horse from the player and acquired it himself. And this is where you'd want to put in your reward. You know, you could wait, let's see if I spell it right. Wait 3, chat, take this for helping me out. And if you spell chat right, you'll run into a lot less issues. And we'll wait one more and give I at hay quantity 10. So it gives them 10 bales of hay. You can change that to whatever you want. You could also add another give command and make it give money quantity 500. Give them 500 of your server's currency or whatever. And then lastly, what you want to do is zap to step 3. When you're done, you can't keep coming back with horses. 1, 2, 3, click trigger, script, chat, thanks again for helping me out. You know, again, you can go through and change all of the chats to whatever you want them to be, just putting them in there so you know what the NPC is supposed to be saying at any given point. And that should be the basic quest. I'm sure I messed something up. Let's go ahead and assign it to him. Denizen reload scripts. NPC select rancher. You can use NPC select in their name. Alternatively, you can actually use a stick and right click them with a stick. Either way. And then we do NPC assign set, what did I call it? I think I just called it rancher quest. Nope. So let's see what we did wrong. Rancher.yml, rancher quest, type assignment. If I do that, reload first. There we go. So now the script that I made over here is currently assigned to the rancher. And so when I first talk to him, I should get this stuff right here. I really need a new horse. Can you help me out? At which point I should be able to say no. So why isn't that chat trigger working? Okay, so the NPC isn't responding to our chat triggers, which means I probably made a mistake in the script here somewhere. And right away, the first thing that stands out is I think I'm not supposed to have an S there. So if I save that, Denizen scripts reload. Oh, if I type that correctly, reload scripts. And then now when I say no, he responds with, oh, come back when you have more time. So it's little bugs like that you gotta watch out for. So that means if I say yes, he should go through the process of sending me to the second step. Okay, I need you to bring a horse on a lead. Come back to me when you find one. You'll see down here, it's zap us to step 2. And if I scroll down, this is where it gets kind of confusing. But when I talk to him now, he should do nothing but tell me to hurry up. Alright, hurry up. I really need a new horse. So, let's get rid of that. First thing we gotta do is go get a horse. Through the magic of being an operator, I can do that. I can do that and give myself a leash, or a lead. I keep calling him a leash. So hook it up to the horse, drag the horse over here to the rancher, and as a test, we'll actually just have a horse near us. And ideally, see that's not enough. I have to be holding on to the horse. So if I hold on to the horse and I come back to the NPC and I talk to him, alright, he says hurry up still. And now we can look at our debug and see why. So right here, it filled the tag player.location.find.entities horse within 3 with a list that contained one entity, 5504. And then it used the if command and compared that list compared to 1, and it became false. Right now, we're comparing a list of entities to see if it's greater than 1. What we want is the size of that list, not the list itself. So the size of that list, if I show you with ex narrate, ideally the size should come up to 1. What I just noticed right there was that my radius was a little small. I was able to be far enough away from the horse, still holding on to him. So let's raise the radius to 5 in both of these spots. And just so you see what I did, if I don't have size, it returns the list itself. So Denizen was trying to compare this to see if it was greater than or equal to 1, which makes no sense. So when we add the size in, we get the amount of horses around us. So now if I save this, do Denizen reload scripts, now he should realize we have a horse. Great, new horse. Let me put the post in the ground real quick. Thanks, this will be great. Take this for helping me out. Okay, well, first thing I see here is that all happened instantly, and that's probably a issue with the for each command. I assume it just runs all of this instantly, which is no good. And the solution to that is going to be pretty easy. If we go down here, we're going to need to create a task script. So this is going to be called horse return, or whatever you want to call it. So this is when you return with a horse. And then the script node is just going to be all of this stuff that we do, that currently it is doing the wrong time. And just like that. So this task script is just going to be this set of steps. In here, we're going to actually use the run command. We're going to run s at horse return. And if we go into the Denizen chat and look up cmd run, the run command has an argument called instantly. So it defaults to not running it instantly, which it currently is doing, which is the problem. So when we run it like this, it should utilize our wait commands and not do it instantly. So let's get rid of this guy, hold on to the horse again. If I talk to him, we're in step 3 still. So we need to ex zap s at rancher main, which is the name of the interact script, to step 2. So I just put myself back in step 2, which is all of the stuff here, which is now significantly smaller because we've switched to running a task script. Now when I talk to him, it's still instant. Alright, so it took me a second to figure out what the problem was, but there must be a bug with the run command, but there's an easy solution. So we're here again, but we're here with the run command that runs this task script. And if we add delay 1, which waits a second before it runs it, that will allow it to run at the proper time. So if we go back here, we reload the scripts, and we send ourselves back to step 2. I'm holding a horse, and I talk to the rancher. You'll see now he talks at the proper rate, and he swings his arm, he puts a stake in the ground. I see a couple errors in the console. Take this for helping me out. A couple more errors and a big error. We gotta see what happened to the script when we switch to a task. We scroll up in here, we can look at the first couple errors. The leash command had a null in it, so that's our first problem. And what the issue is, since we're no longer in the for each command, this value term isn't valid anymore. So the solution to that is when we run this task script, we have to pass that value into the task script, give it to it so it knows how to use it. So we use this def, which I believe stands for define. We're going to define a value to pass to it, and in this case we're going to pass the horse value, which is just called value. Just like we were using it here, all it's doing is replacing this with the horse entity and passing it to the task script. And then down here, to reference that, that's going to be the first defined value, so we reference it with this, which is a 1 in the percent signs. So that should solve the leash command, leash command. And then the next error is in the give command, an invalid argument was specified, and that is because hey is not the proper term. If we do item hey, it'll tell us it's actually called a hey block. So the problem was that needs to be a hey block. And then the next error is I don't have an economy loaded, and that's, because it's my test server, but if you had an economy loaded, you could give money. That's minor. And then this last one, this big error, which is kind of misleading. The issue here was the zap command tried to zap the task script step, which makes no sense. And that's because since we're in a different script, we need to tell it which script we're trying to change the step of. So we reference that with s@, and it's called brancher main. Let's just double check. So we're trying to change this script step to step 3, like so. So we should be able to save that, go back into Minecraft, reload our scripts, and because it wasn't able to successfully zap in the first place, we should be in the right step. Talk to the rancher. Let me put a post in the ground real quick. He swings his arm, attaches the horse, thinks that this will be a great help. There's our hay blocks. It tried to give us our money down there, but it couldn't. And if we talk to him, thanks again for helping me out. So we successfully completed the quest. Now we need to do a little bit of cleanup, because if we leave it like this horse will stay here. You could potentially just take it with you just by removing the leash and using your leash to drag them out. It's up to you how you want to handle the cleanup. You could just instantly remove the horse and call it a day, or you could, for aesthetics, leave it there for a set amount of time and come back and have it remove it automatically, which is the route I'm going to take. So in here, we're going to have it run we'll call it s@rancher cleanup, and we're going to delay that 1 minute. So we're going to create a new task script down here called rancher cleanup. Type task and script. Let me, just for aesthetics, do that. And in this script, the only thing that we really need to do is remove all the horses around the NPC. So using the same tag we did up here, but we'll use the NPC's location instead of the player location, like so. So we're going to remove all the horses within 5 blocks of the NPC, and then we need to use the modify block command again to change location from up here, which is the location of the block, or not the block, sorry, location of the fence post, change it back to air. And that'll get rid of the horse, get rid of the fence post, so the next person who comes up gets the same experience as the last. And that'll be delayed 1 minute after the player finishes the quest, so he could walk away and not see this happen. And the only downside, and this is, I like to be thorough and cover all the bases here, I believe that these delays can be interrupted by automatic restarts or forced restarts of the server. So I want to make a small world script, and this again is just me being thorough, and we're just going to call it rancher clean up world. It doesn't matter. And it's type world, and then it has events, and the event we're doing is on server start. So when the server starts up, we need to use the if command, and if this location dot material equals m@fence. So if that's a fence, we need to modify. Well, we just need to do this. Sorry. We just need to modify block and put it back to air. That's all you got to do. So when the server starts up, if for any reason this thing had gotten stuck there, it'll turn it to air and no one will know the difference. So we're going to go ahead and save this real quick. We're going to unhook the horse, hook it back up to me, go in here, change our step back, run through this one more time. So let's put a post in the ground real quick, attach the horse to it. Thanks, this would be great. We get another 10 hay bales, get our money, and that is over. So I'm going to stand here and wait a minute. I believe the delay command only, or the delay argument from the run command only accepts second values. So I set it to 10 seconds just for a test, but you can change it to 30, 60, 180, whatever you want it to be. So if we run this now, we'll go through the process one more time. Puts the post in the ground, attaches the horse, and then hopefully in 10 seconds he'll get rid of the horse. Alright, there we go. So now it's, I forgot to reload, now it's actually waiting 10 seconds, as you can see in the debug, and he erased the horse. And everything disappears, and he now says, thanks again for helping me out. So we've successfully finished this quest. Took a little longer than anticipated, but I think it gave you a good idea of how to use different commands to accomplish different things. This is a nice change up from a standard like, just bring me these items and I'll take them from you and give you a reward. This one's a little more dynamic, and I think it's a pretty fun little quest. Thanks to whoever suggested it. I forget your name already, but I appreciate it. If you guys have more suggestions, feel free to go ahead and post them in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. I really like to know people enjoy this. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you the next time.